O.J. Simpson, the football superstar who became a symbol of domestic violence and racial division after he was found not guilty of murdering his ex wife and her friend in a trial that riveted the nation and had legal and cultural repercussions for years afterwards, died April 10th. He was 76 years old. The cause was cancer, and this is all according to a post from his family on the social media platform X. Additional details were not immediately available. We'll do a deep dive into the life and legacy of O.J. Simpson in hour two today. In other news today, Democratic officials are looking at their options after Republican secretaries of state in Ohio and Alabama warned them that President Biden might not appear on their ballots in November because of the timing of his expected nomination at the Democratic National Convention. Publicly, the Biden campaign is expressing confidence that he will appear on the ballot in both states. But the situation has created new headaches for Democrats and stoked distrust with election officials over what has long been considered an apolitical process. Authorities said today that they will look into possible efforts to obstruct the investigation into the shooting of a teacher by a 6-year-old student at Virginia's Rich Neck Elementary School last year, focusing on what happened to key pieces of evidence in the case. The Commonwealth's attorney, Howard Gwynn, the top prosecutor in Newport News, Virginia, said his office will probe why one of the shooter's discipline files disappeared and the other had material removed from it. State lawmakers immediately sought votes in the legislature to repeal the severe 1864 abortion law revived on Tuesday by the Arizona State Supreme Court. That law bans nearly all abortions, including in cases of rape and incest, and threatens providers with 2 to 5 years in prison. But Republicans blocked them. In the state Senate, the GOP blocked a motion on a rule change that would allow Democrats to introduce a repeal bill. In the state House, a Republican who has criticized the 1864 law pushed for a vote on an existing Democratic proposal to repeal it, but he was thwarted when leaders called for a recess and then adjourned for a week. Tennessee lawmakers are considering criminalizing adults who minors receive gender affirming care without parental consent, a proposal advancing in one of the most eager states to enact policies aimed at the LGBTQ community. Republican senators advanced this legislation in the Tennessee State House on a 25-4 vote. It must now clear the similarly GOP dominated House. Well, the Anti-Defamation League, they're not too happy with Harvard University. In fact, they gave Harvard University and 12 other schools a failing grade for policies to protect Jewish students from anti-Semitism on campus. The ADL said it selected 85 of the top national and liberal arts colleges for assessment this year and chose those with the highest Jewish student populations. It assigned grades from A through F in a campus anti-Semitism report card, and that report card was released today. Pulitzer Prize winning photographer David Hume Kennerly said today that he's defending former Representative Liz Cheney, former Republican Congresswoman from Wyoming, after he resigned from the Gerald R. Ford Presidential Foundation over its refusal to consider her for its Medal for Distinguished Public Service. A snub, he claims, was driven by the possibility of former President Donald Trump winning this year's presidential election. In his letter of resignation from the foundation board as a trustee, Kennerly argued that Liz Cheney, a vocal opponent of Trump's, was rejected multiple times for the top award out of fear of retribution from Donald Trump if he wins re-election. This is the news, and this is Areva Martin in real time, and I'm your host, Areva Martin. This is your one-stop destination for today's trending news, expert analysis, and my unfiltered opinions. In this hour, I'm joined by Smiley.
listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Now they have everything they need to come to life. Dell Technologies and Intel are creating technology that loves ideas, loves expanding your business, evolving your passions. We push what technology can do, so great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now.
A Gain Scent Bead story. Jim was at the laundromat when he heard his ear said, "Maraca, senor," but his nose said, "Hey, freshest scent ever." Following his nose, Jim found a man pouring a bottle of Gain Scent Beads into the washer. The scent, the freshness. Jim blurted, "Sir, your scent Maraca smell amazing." Actually, Jim, most noses call them Gain Scent Beads. Try Gain Scent Beads, way fresher than detergent alone.
Psst. Hey, I have a secret. I use Secret Whole Body Deodorant because more than just my armpits stink.
Oh, can I use it where my bra rubs under my...
Oh, yeah.
And what about down there? You know, my...
Totally. 4 out of 5 gynecologists would recommend it. So I tried it, and now I get 72 hours of freshness from my pits to my...
Ooh, I love that it's a spray.
Me too. And it comes in sticks and creams too. Go get your Secret Whole Body Deodorant.
Environmental justice is racial justice.
Environmental justice is social justice.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Single Moms Planet is a nonprofit organization dedicated to uplifting under-resourced single mom business owners and working mothers nationwide. Single Moms Planet offers comprehensive programs of financial literacy, business development, mentorship, and entrepreneurial training. They provide education, accountability, and hope. Single Moms Planet was founded by model, TV personality, and producer Nefertari Plessy. Nefertiri felt firsthand the challenges that face single moms as she was raised by a working single mother. She learned that the most disadvantaged group in the United States are single mom families. According to the U.S. Census, 30% live under the poverty line. So she decided to do something about it, along with co-founder Cole Patterson. Their goal is to end the poverty cycle in single mother households through education, opportunity, and networking, providing family and child enrichment programs for under-resourced single-parent families. Single Moms Planet serves over 10,000 single moms and their children each year. Studies show that business development and financial literacy provide a positive environment for children and families, exposing them to new possibilities and opportunities. To attend one of their fun events, make a donation, or get more information, or if you need help as a single mom, please visit singlemomsplanet.org. That's singlemomsplanet.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We used to argue about whose turn it was to clean the gutters, but then I had leaf filter gutter protection installed.
Wait, I told you Leaf Filter had free inspections and estimates and a lifetime guarantee.
Meaning we never have to argue about whose turn it is to clean the gutters again.
But I visited leaffilter.com/beacon first.
No, I did.
It doesn't matter who. Visit leaffilter.com/beacon to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off today.
See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Did you know that feeling sluggish or weighed down could be a sign that your digestive system isn't working at its best? Taking Metamucil every day can help. Metamucil fiber powders help promote your daily digestive health using a plant-based fiber called psyllium. The gelling action of this special fiber traps and removes waste, so you can feel lighter and more energetic. Metamucil, promoting digestive health for a better you. Learn more at metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a whole lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the Amera I Can Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the Amera I Can program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The Amera I Can Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend, Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriICanCommunity.partners. That's AmeriICanCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit
I'm back. Sorry for that little technical difficulty, but I'm so grateful to be in conversation today with Ed Sanders and John Calvin Smiley. Hour two, we're going to be talking about everything OJ, talking about that infamous case of 1995, that trial that riveted the nation, as well as what his legacy is So make sure you stick around for hour 2. All right, Ed, I got to ask you about the Democrats' issues in these states where Joe Biden may not end up on the ballot. Now, of course, the Democrats are saying this isn't a huge deal, but this is all about timing of the Democratic convention and when he is officially determined to be the candidate on as the Democratic candidate. Is it Alabama and Ohio are saying the timing doesn't line up with their ballot process? What's going to happen in this, what appears to be kind of a hot mess?
Yeah, it appears to be just a, it's an administrative, it seems like an administrative issue more than anything else. I presume that somehow or another that the party can declare Biden and Harris at this juncture, certainly by the deadlines that are necessary, that they would be the nominee for the party and thus get on the ballot. I heard the stories of that a little earlier today. I haven't dove deep into the technicalities of why they wouldn't be able to be on the ballot in those 2 states. But I presume that with the presidency on the line, that the best minds in the Democratic Party can find a solution to get those 2 on the ballot.
Well, it seems, as you said, it's a technical issue, and before our world was so polarized, apparently these kinds of technical details about dates, exceptions were made. And as you said, if someone was clearly going to be the candidate, there was no real issue. But in this moment in time where Donald Trump pretty much controls the Republican Party, it appears that some of these election officials may not be willing to give the kinds of concessions that they've given in the past. And we're seeing just how strong of a stronghold Donald Trump has, not only on parties, but on private entities like the Ford Foundation, this foundation, Ford or Gerald R. Ford Presidential Foundation. Professor Smiley, one of their Pulitzer Prize winning board members resigned because he says they're playing politics, fearful of Donald Trump's retribution, and will not give Liz Cheney an award that presumably everybody on that board believes she deserves to get.
Yeah, I think we've said this before on the show that the Republican Party is the party of Trump, and so certainly there is folks in the party who are watching this and going to abide by their king. I take a different approach, and I'm just like, is Liz Cheney really deserving of the award just in general? I think there's been this kind of repositioning her as this opponent of Donald Trump, and therefore we've seen what's happened. But when you look at her track record, both her voting record as well as a lot of the positions that she's taken, I'm not sure if she's really deserving of any award, but maybe that's for a different conversation.
Okay, no, good point. But look at the name of the organization, Professor Smiley. It's the Gerald R. Ford Presidential Foundation. It's not the Barack Obama, Presidential Foundation giving an award to Liz Cheney.
Very true.
I would imagine by Gerald Ford standards, Liz Cheney is probably about as good as you get.
I mean, maybe. I mean, he's someone who kind of limped into both of his positions as vice president and president. So, yeah, I'm sure you're absolutely right that she would be deserving of this. But yes, I mean, I'm just speaking more in general. I'm not sure if she passes the Professor Smiley muster of deserving an award. But yeah, I think back to the original question, this certainly again just highlights how deeply entrenched the Republican Party is and beholden to Trump as their kind of their demigod.
And Trump is creating a lot of issues for this party, no doubt. And this abortion issue is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. Trump and his sycophants on Fox would like to believe, or make the country believe, that, it's going to go away. These draconian decisions in Alabama and now Arizona, don't worry about it. Trump said this. I think Sean Hannity said it. We'll have all this abortion, they call it mess, worked out in 2 weeks. And that's not the reality. You see in Arizona efforts to try to repeal this 1864 law that pretty much makes all abortions illegal in that state. It couldn't get passed. The Republican-led legislature thwarted efforts to repeal this law. So I don't think this abortion issue is going away. Trump, Sean Hannity, they're not going to get off the hook that easily because you have a very motivated base of Republicans who truly believe that it is their rights to dictate to women what our reproductive choices are. And they're not so willing, like Donald Trump, to just kind of blow with the wind and follow the sentiment, even if it is the sentiment of the majority of the American people.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can see presidential politics at play, right? I think part of the dismissiveness in the last segment on, whether Biden and Harris could get on the ballot, we were looking at Ohio and Alabama, and those aren't really competitive states anymore in Ohio anymore in the presidential side. Arizona is a competitive state and matters to who wins it in terms of the outcome of the presidency. And so you could see not just Trump, but Carrie Lake softening. Well, she did a complete 180 on her stance, and trying to get this done. And it is a complete acknowledgement that the issue of abortion, the issue as you eloquently laid it out, is dictating to women how to control their bodies, is just something that is going to play a very definitive role in this election. Trump's glee at his appointments to the Supreme Court and the actions that they took to in the Hobbs case haven't been forgotten. They haven't been forgotten by women across this country. And you've seen it in election after election after election since then, whether they're local or statewide, where the decisive factor is the motivation and increase in female voting across this country. So they're trying to soften it. I don't know that they can do anything to get out of that tidal wave.
Yeah, not only softened, you're right, Carrie Lake praised this law when she was running for governor, was thrilled about this law that bans abortions, even in the case of rape and incest, and makes it a crime for anyone that performs an abortion, subjects you to 2 to 5 years in prison. She was a gleeful supporter of it. And yesterday, 2 days ago, she comes out and says, oh my God, this is troublesome. We have to think about this. So she's done a 180 on it, but Trump is trying to convince people there's nothing here to see. We're going to get this fixed. But Professor Smiley, folks really believe in their rights to anti-abortionists. They think their position is rooted in the Bible, in biblical, scriptures. So they're not so ready to make this go away. They're not so ready to capitulate because they think it might, be a win for Trump or be a win for any elected official. They want to hold these elected officials' feet to the fire, those that said they were anti-abortionists.
Sure, and absolutely, this is a case where we see a very, I wouldn't say very, but a smaller minority that is just being really, really loud and really trying to get things passed. Because as we look across the country, people are in favor of reproductive justice and women's rights to choose overwhelmingly. So to see these types of evangelicals or radical Christians, and they're kind of harking back to the Bible or this kind of yesteryear, which again goes right into the motif of the Make America Great Again, which is this kind of nostalgic, what we hear, traditional wife or trad wife that just is beholden to the man and this kind of very heteronormative lifestyle that the breadwinner is going to control and dictate how many children the wife is going to have, and I think the bigger thing here is the scarier part is that we're looking to a very scary part of American history. We think back to like 1864. That's not necessarily a year I want to go back to and say, let's go look at what they were doing and use that as our guiding principle for how we should be moving forward. And once again, it just echoes the contradiction in Republicans and more conservatives, where they're always about small government, get out of my pocket. But when it comes to things like reproductive justice and self-governance over one's body, all of a sudden it's big government, and in the womb. So, we have to continue to see those on the left and the Democratic Party and other progressives, fight like hell to ensure that things like this don't get passed, and, really challenge Hobbs. I mean, I think that's going to be the next big thing. I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen in this particular iteration of the Supreme Court and go anywhere. But again, as we hear, you got to fight like hell.
Yeah, I want to read something, New York Times article that's just dropped, giving some credit, well-deserved credit to our vice president. It says, in a meeting with her staff last week, Vice President Kamala Harris offered a prediction. Former President Trump would not support a national abortion ban. Instead, she said he would take a position that would muddy the waters on an issue that she believed could be deeply damaging for his campaign. We need to make him own this, she told her aides. Now, days later, as rumors circulated that a court ruling was coming on Arizona's abortion ban, Harris instructed that an event in Tucson about student loans should instead focus on abortion rights. So this is according to some folks who spoke on the condition of not sharing their names as internal deliberations. So then on Tuesday, the Arizona's top court upheld this 1864 ban. And on Friday, before more than 100 abortion rights activists and supporters, VP Harris will deliver a simple message: blame Donald Trump. So Ed, here we have our very brilliant VP that folks like to malign, like to say she does nothing, she can't be found, she's hiding, blah, 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 blah. She's gaming, pre-gaming, she's strategizing, she's predicting on these critical issues and causing the party to, make adjustments in a way that takes advantage of and leverages a huge weakness that the Republican Party has. How do we make sure Kamala Harris gets credit for her strategy and her brilliance in this moment?
Well, doing exactly what you're doing, Areva, which is lifting her up. I think what I'm immediately troubled by is that there are staffers in her office that are speaking off the record to the press about her strategy. That's troubling. But look, as far as the issue goes, the vice president is a strong voice on this issue. In fact, she's probably the best orator that the campaign has, and where they can find ways to put her up front to speak about issues. I don't think they have a better spokesperson. I think you and I know her to be incredibly sharp, intelligent, on point, and delivers remarks that resonate with you once you listen to her. And I think putting her in situations where she can certainly highlight this issue of abortion, but one of the bigger issues is going to be the economy and how we go forward, and she'll play a pivotal role in that.
Yeah, when we come forward, I want to talk more about how our VP is out front leading the Democratic charge and causing Republicans to scramble, holding them accountable. She says, let's make him own it. Stay with us. KBLA Talk 1580.
The right time. More of Areva Martin in real time when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Hall of Fame football player O.J. Simpson, known for his historic rushing records and infamous for a high-profile murder trial, has died at 76 from cancer. After a successful career with the Buffalo Bills, he transitioned to roles as a football announcer and actor. His life took a dramatic turn in 1994 with his arrest following a televised car chase, ultimately resulting in acquittal in a trial that captivated the nation. A Goucher College Baltimore Banner survey conducted from April 3rd to 7th among over 700 registered voters shows Baltimore City voters give high marks to elected leaders for their response to the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse. Governor Wes Moore, who is Black, received a 74% approval rating. President Biden garnered 62%, and Mayor Brandon Scott, who was also Black, earned a 61% approval rating. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Looking at a crash right now in Anaheim Hills, 91 eastbound past the 241. It's a crash. The fire department is blocking the right lane. CHP's there as well. Traffic slow from the 57. If you are trying to get through Hollywood, it's slow on 101 southbound from Sunset Boulevard down to Mission Road in East LA. Also in the Lawndale Redondo Beach area, 405 southbound before Inglewood, crashing the left lane has traffic stopped from Wilshire Boulevard.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate, not one based on anyone else. So if you drive safely, you could save money. Good to know. Visit allstate.com or call for a quote today.
Is this the dagger? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
For many people, the first thing that comes to mind when they hear the name O.J. Simpson is the infamous car chase in L.A., a year-long double murder trial that aired on TV every day, the emergence of a lawyer named Johnny Cochran, and a not guilty verdict heard around the nation. Those are the storylines that will follow O.J. Simpson to his grave. When Simpson died early Thursday morning from prostate cancer at age 76, he was more known for his alleged involvement in the 1994 murders of his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Mark Goldman. Before Simpson's life took a tragic turn, he was one of the most gifted running backs to ever carry a football, a Heisman Trophy winner at USC, an 11-year career in the NFL, Hall of Fame inductee, the first NFL running back to rush for 2,000 yards in a season. So sad that O.J. Simpson will always be remembered for something else. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, y'all, come on. Pick up the drums. At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power.
There are many healthcare organizations serving our community. Not all are dedicated to community partnerships that educate, build trust, inspire hope, and improve outcomes. Providence has a robust community outreach program and has dedicated $50 million over the next 5 years to support organizations addressing health disparities in local communities of color. Examples of this commitment include the Biddy Mason Community Wellness Center on the First AME campus, providing medical screenings, mental health therapy, nutrition, and culturally sensitive holistic classes. The Black Mama's Glowing Peer Support Group that focuses on maternal mental health, birth planning, and social support. Providence is committed to building trusted partnerships with community organizations to better understand and dismantle structural, racial, and cultural barriers to better health. During Minority Health Month, Providence is sponsoring Health for a Better World. Informative conversations with Providence health professionals on Urban Family Focus every Saturday in April at 7 a.m. To find a Providence Health System facility near you, log on to providence.org.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment through the arts. Tia Chucha Central Cultural is on a mission to transform community in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chuchas opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chuchas Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We are back, and in this hour, John Calvin Smiley and Ed Sanders are joining me as we break down today's breaking and trending news. And in the second hour of Areva Martin in Real Time, we're going to go deep on the story of O.J. Simpson. He died after battling prostate cancer at the age of 76. And the news media has been in pretty much of a frenzy today, reliving, recounting, retelling the story of his double murder trial that happened right here in Los Angeles, California in 1995, and talking about his life and his legacy. So we're going to do the same. We're going to go deep on the O.J. Simpson story with a defense attorney to get his perspective on that trial, many of which believe was a travesty of justice. Those that believe that O.J. Simpson was guilty of killing his ex-wife and her friend. Also talked to a political strategist about the political implications of a case like O.J. Simpson, how it divided the nation along racial lines, or maybe just revealed divisions that were already there. So make sure you stick around for hour two. But I want to go back, Professor Smiley, to this issue of abortion. Ed says he thinks abortion obviously is an issue, but we're going to get back to something, more basics that control typically presidential elections, and that's the economy, that's jobs. But I want to read something else from that New York Times article, the article where Kamala Harris's aides apparently were leaking, talking to the press. I'm with you, Ed, concerned about that, but I guess they felt like this was one of those stories where she could get some positive press. But in that same story, they said that 4 years ago, Biden rarely ever mentioned abortion rights in his general election campaign, fearing the issue could alienate moderate voters and would not energize his base. Now, after the fall of Roe v. Wade, abortion rights are a centerpiece of his reelection bid, the first time that an American presidential campaign has focused so intensely on women's reproductive health. Goes on to say, after largely abandoning an effort to brand economic progress under the banner of Bidenomics, the president's team has found a simpler, easier to understand slogan to use wherever states are restricting abortions. And the slogan is, Donald Trump did this. That's the closing shot of one of the campaign's new advertisements about abortion. So here we have a president, a Catholic president at that, who has now centered abortion and reproductive rights front and center in his presidential campaign. This article says he gave up on Bidenomics, just wasn't selling. It was a dog that wasn't hunting. Do you think this is the wave that the Democrats can ride into the White House?
I think they're going to have to figure it out because, you can't be neutral on a moving train, as the late historian Howard Zinn said. And, abortion and reproductive justice rights are certainly hot topics for younger generations, millennials, Gen Zs. These are the topics that are being talked about on social media platforms, along with jobs and money and economy. But, young folks don't have jobs, don't own homes because of all those things. So, young folks are a little bit more removed from those, but, not being able to have access to healthcare and forms of healthcare are certainly things that become universal. So I think it's really important for the Biden campaign to choose a side and to stick with it. And I love the idea of making Donald Trump the face of this problem. I think for too long, the Democrats have continued to try to do that kind of proverbial, let's cross the aisle and work together, while the Republicans are like, keep smacking that hand away and keep saying, we're not going to work with you. So if making Donald Trump the face of this issue in a very negative way, and that's going to be the road back into the White House, I'm all for it because the Republicans are going to sling mud, and this is we live in a time of 120 characters. So, you have to be able to sell a story and sell it quick and put a face to that name.
And Professor Smiley, let me apologize to you and Mom because I mixed up your name and I was calling you John instead of Calvin John Smiley.
That's fine.
Mom is watching, so I just want to know, sure. I know your baby's name, so forgive me. I want to lose my super fan. I got to take care of my super fans. And okay, Ed, you think this is about economics, but everybody seems to think this is going to be about abortion. So, Debbie Powell running in Florida is saying she's going on a Florida freedom tour after the decision by the Florida Supreme Court last week. So you have these conservative judges issuing these decisions that are complicating things for Republicans who want to run away from the abortion issue. They don't want to talk about abortion because their positions are already cemented. We have them on tape. saying that they are going to push for a federal ban. Lindsey Graham, biggest voice out there on this issue, and the judges are saying, okay, if you guys want to push for a ban, we're going to go even further. We're just going to ban everything, put people in jail for giving abortions. And Republicans are saying, wait, we don't really want to do it right now. We want to do it after we win. So the issue, this might be the biggest issue that motivates voters. Yesterday, we were talking about Black maternal health. They did a poll. They said reproductive justice, which is bigger than the abortion issue, but it encompasses the abortion issue, is the number one issue driving Black women in this year's election.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it is a key driver of women's vote within the country, and I don't think there's anything to dispel that.
Men don't care about abortions?
They do. See, now you're gonna get me in trouble. But at the same time, the economy has always traditionally been, one of the key issues that decides the election. I think, as Democrats prepare for the fall, I think where they have struggled is really helping the American people understand the difference between the parties relative to the economy. I mean, the last few years, you have seen the amount of capital in that upper 1% to 2% just take off, and you're seeing the pressures put on the workforce, from depressed wages to access to healthcare, and this sort of eternal conflict between capitalism and the workforce. You're seeing it play out certainly in the Midwest, where you're seeing, the question of jobs and what does the future hold for people begin to really set in and put a sense of uneasiness. And you're seeing that uneasiness reflected in some of the soft numbers for Biden. I think he's got to go much harder, and the administration and the campaign in general have to go much harder on the Republicans, because the difference between the two parties. One party is going to be good for middle-class Americans. The other party is really only good for the wealthy in this country. I mean, we can look back to Donald Trump's cabinet when he was last in, and it was chock full of billionaires, from Betsy DeVos to a couple other those billionaires, and all they did was try to create policies to help increase their wealth. And tangibly, you didn't see an increase across the middle class. And that's the difference that they need to focus on. Certainly, the abortion issue is going to drive the women vote out.
Let me stop you right there, Ed. I hear you, and I know that the economy, inflation, jobs are typically the issues that drive voters out. We know that people aren't motivated by Joe Biden. They think that he's too old. They think that Donald Trump is too old, quite frankly. They think they're both too old. But people vote when they are motivated, when they feel something, maybe they're losing something or they're gaining something that's personal to them. And maybe it is going to be this issue of abortion, particularly with women who are one of the biggest voting blocs in our country. Black women, if they're motivated by it, we know how reliable Black women are for the Democratic Party. And then younger voters who typically can be very apathetic in an election year, particularly an election year where the people on the ballot are, their grandparents' ages. So I think it might be a mistake to try to focus on the economy. Biden already tried that with Bidenomics. Nobody really cares about that. I mean, people are upset about gas prices and food prices, but is that really going to motivate them the way this abortion issue seems to be animating people?
And I would say that they have to do a stronger push on the plan for the future, right? I even following this, I don't necessarily know what the president would propose in terms of policies in a second term. Some of that is just the realism of the politics, but I think the campaign has to speak about economic terms to a disaffected group of people that really don't feel optimistic about the next couple of years.
Yeah,
you can motivate women to the polls and he can win, but I think he's got to do both. I really do think he's got to do both.
Let's talk about that. You said you don't know what his plans are for the future. So let's have a conversation about that when we come forward right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Tips to help improve your credit score in 2024. Establishing credit is an important key to achieving financial health. But building a credit history from scratch can feel challenging since you need credit to build credit. First, what does it mean to build credit? All consumers have a score between 300 and 850. You want your score to be as high as possible as lenders look at your credit score to make loan and credit decisions. A good credit score shows you have a track record of borrowing money responsibly. Remember, it's never too late to build or rebuild your credit. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase & Company.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up.
Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol. To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, home of the 2024 Climate Justice Campaign. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
All right, we are back. Ed Sanders and Calvin John Smiley are joining me in this hour. We are talking about today's breaking and trending news. And in hour two, it's all things O.J. Simpson. He died at the age of 76, and the media is in a frenzy examining everything from his football days at USC to that infamous murder trial, double murder trial in Los Angeles in 1995. All right, Ed, you said Biden has got to put forth an agenda for his second term. Didn't he do that in the State of the Union? And I just did a quick Google search and looked at what he proposes in a 2025 budget. He said parents could get an increased child tax credit as payments will return briefly to the 2021 level, funded by Biden's coronavirus pandemic relief. Home buyers could get a tax credit worth up to $10,000. Corporate taxes would jump upward, while billionaires would be charged a minimum tax of 25%. And it just goes on and on and on. So I'm not sure when you say he hasn't laid out a plan. Have you had a chance to revisit that State of the Union or look at some of the things he's been talking about doing in the second term?
And to your point, but he also loses himself in the moment, right? So, I mean, as important as those points are in the State of the Union, that really wasn't the headline coming out. I think there were a few gaps during the speech that took center stage. The point being, I mean, the difference between his administration and Donald Trump's administration are stark. And I think, again, if you, I, or anybody looks at it and we aren't billionaires, it's really clear that the Democratic Party that is putting forward a proposal that works. I don't know that it's hitting home, right? And the president's, policies are speaking to people across the dinner table, but they're really hearing more of like the Donald Trump chatter than what his policies would do for them. The campaign has got to find a better way to get and hit this home. I mean, when 16 years ago, when Barack Obama was running on the issue of healthcare, I can remember very vividly that infomercial that he put together for 30 minutes. And I thought that was one of the most decisive pieces of political campaign, information, because it really spelled out how his administration was going to help and why the issue had to be addressed. And I'm not really getting that from the Biden administration yet, or from the campaign. It's early, right? We haven't even hit summer, so there's still time, but I flagged that for folks.
Yeah, I hear you. That's your opinion. I'm thinking about this differently. I think that the issue of abortion, women's rights, reproductive freedom, reproductive justice, body autonomy is going to be the issue that probably gets Biden and Harris reelected. And I think Kamala Harris is going to be the superstar. She is, I think, has been underutilized in some ways, and apparently now they are recognizing her brilliance. I'm not suggesting that they didn't before, but clearly on this issue, there's no better spokesperson on it. So I think she's going to shine in ways that we've not seen her shine, and could deliver the victory for the party in a big way. So that's my prediction. Let's talk a little about Robert F. Kennedy, Professor Smiley. So a couple of days ago, one of his staffers comes out and says, well, this ain't really about getting him elected. This is all about making sure Joe Biden doesn't win because he's the enemy of the people. And we want to make sure that, a vote for Robert Kennedy is a vote for Donald Trump. Kennedy came out with a pretty timid response and said, well, we get people from all different backgrounds that are a part of our campaign, but I think this person now, the news reports are that she's been fired. So Robert F. Kennedy doesn't think it's a good strategy to have someone on his team saying, I'm not really there to help him get elected. I want the other guy to get elected. But what do you make of this campaign? He had this big moment where he brought on this tech lawyer, millionaire tech lawyer. Now it's supposed to really energize his campaign, and it doesn't seem like it's done much for it.
Yeah, I think last time I was on the show, we talked about the VP selection, and I think I was pretty dismissive then, and I'll probably be just as dismissive now that he's clearly a third party, on the side. He doesn't seem to be making any real inroad into shaking it up, at least not shaking it up to the point where I think either Biden or Trump need to be afraid of him as a third party candidate. And I'm also really curious about this whole idea that a vote for Kennedy is a vote that's pulling away from Biden. Outside of the name Kennedy, I'm not really too clear on what platforms at least his bigger platforms, that would have Democratic folks saying, you know what, the anti-vaxxer, the guy who speaks against Jewish folks and doing all this stuff is the guy that all the Democrats are going to start flocking towards. So, in fact, he might be the one who's pulling some of the more fringe conspiracy theorists away from a Donald Trump, if I was a betting person. But yeah, once again, he just seems like a really rich guy with a very famous name who has too much time on his hands, and and should probably just, I don't know, go sailing. I don't know what are the Kennedys into, but not run for president, certainly.
Yeah, this is the same staffer. She's been criticized too for some conspiracy theories about vaccine mandates. Obviously, that was okay when they hired her, but once she, I guess, crossed that line, she went too far by revealing what she says was the real reason Robert F. Kennedy was running. But there was some news also made, Ed, here in Los Angeles, when Cornel West, another candidate for president, chose his VP selection, our very own Dr. Melina Abdullah, Cal State Long Beach professor and also a host right here at KBLA. She's been a big time activist on issues of police and leads the Los Angeles chapter of Black Lives Matter. Did that have any impact, you think, on Cornel West's campaign and his chances of being the president?
Well, listen, I love it. Melina is a Howard Bison. I'm a Howard Bison. We were there together. And so the thought that two of the vice presidential candidates in this year's election are Bison is great. I think her selection does one thing really, really clear, which is call back to the table the question of police accountability. There was not any measure of reform passed through Congress and signed into law. And, while the issue isn't on the front page of the LA Times or New York Post or on CNN every day, it was a huge concern for us in the last election. And it is a huge concern for us going forward. And not just that issue, how governments and how policies impact the African-American community. I look to Dr. West and Melina to really crystallize that across the board, across the issues, whether it's the economy, healthcare, jobs, however you want to look at it.
And I think I misspoke when I said Melina is at Cal State Long Beach. She's actually a professor at Cal State LA. But how do candidates like Cornel West, Robert F. Kennedy, how do they get a platform? They get a voice. There was an article or two I read about both of them selecting their running mate, but it seems like, it's pretty impossible in our body politic for these independent type candidates they're not going to be on the debate stage. They, can't get the kind of national media attention. So the issues you just talked about, whether it's policing or healthcare, how do they get their message out?
Well, I think both to Dr. Smith's, points that they have their followers, right? And when you're looking at Dr. West and you're looking at Dr. Abdullah, there is an audience that is listening to their take and their points that they are making. It may not be, CNN and MSNBC may not put them up, but they are speaking to people that are engaged in the election and looking to vote. And so I would just encourage, honestly, them to continue their pace. I don't know about Robert Kennedy.
And
it's going to be interesting. Go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick. I was going to say that I think that's where they come in, is that they push certain candidates to have to talk about these things because of the way that the body politic is set up. So yes, it would be amazing for Cornel West to continue to push for things like police accountability and all of these things. But to your larger question, that's a larger, maybe another hour on just our entire election process reform, because unless you have billions of dollars, you are not going to be president of the United States moving forward.
And let's be clear, lots of folks say it is not time for candidates who are aspirational. We are in the most important election of our lifetime, and we got one choice here and one choice only. So lots of views, lots of points of views. Thank you guys so much for joining me. We are out of time. When we come forward, it's O.J. Simpson, the trial and the legacy of the man who at one point was the biggest sports figure in U.S. history. Stay with us. KBLA Talk 1580.